How's it going, you guys? So really quick, I want to make a video talking about the Facebook and Instagram algorithms, as well as YouTube seems to have some of my comments disappearing for some reason. So I don't like to spend too much time focusing on this because it's kind of outside of my control, but it's been pissing me the fuck off for such a long time. Hopefully YouTube doesn't censor me because I just said the F word. But, so I figure it needs a little bit of attention, and yeah, I guess I just kind of want to vent, I guess. I don't know. I'm sure a lot of y'all have maybe noticed this. So let's start with YouTube and my comments. So this does not happen all the time. Pretty much 90% of my comments, they either get posted immediately on my comment section, or else they get held for review in my YouTube studio for me to approve the comments. But there's 10% of my comments sometimes where I'll get a notification that somebody commented on my video, but then when I actually go and look for it, the comments completely disappeared. And I'll go into my YouTube studio and I'll go to the held for review section, and the comments nowhere to be found. And I've had people sometimes who will ask me why I'm deleting their comments. And it's frustrating me because I'm like, dude, I'm not deleting your comment. I was very curious to know what you said. I love reading my comments. And I'm disappointed myself that your comment just disappeared out of nowhere. And I assume sometimes that they might have deleted their comment. But I don't think it would be showing up in my notifications if they deleted their comment. And these comments that disappear, they're in my notifications section for a long time. They're not removed from my notifications ever. Sometimes weeks later, I'll go back and see that disappeared comment that is nowhere to be found on my actual video is still in the notifications. So I don't know what it is. A lot of times these comments are not even anything that YouTube would want to suppress. For example, there's this person that always comments on my videos about white rice, and their name's Dimitri something something, and they have an anime picture on their avatar, their thumbnail. And all they're doing is telling me why they think white rice can be a part of a healthy diet and it's not unhealthy for you and blah, 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 which obviously I disagree with. And I don't think white rice will kill you or anything, but I don't think it'd be considered a health food or anything like that. But there's no reason why YouTube would delete their comment. They're not trying to push any kind of ideas that are against YouTube's agendas or anything conspiracy theory, like people will say it's Illuminati or something. So I don't know why their comments getting deleted or whatever, or getting hidden or suppressed. And then there was another comment on one of my videos just earlier today when I woke up. It was on my Ray Peat video, where I was saying that Ray Peat has a lot of ideas that don't match up to the science, basically. And somebody commented just saying Ray Peat's ideas are pseudoscience. Here's a study debunking his PUFA claims, his polyunsaturated fatty acid claims. And it's that simple, and and YouTube doesn't, that I know of, delete comments that link to outside websites, although there's a lot of comments, spam bot comments that link to outside websites that are just advertising penis enlargement and stupid shit like that. And a lot of times YouTube doesn't even filter those out. They're not even held for review. They'll just get posted on my fucking comments. But yet, someone linking a study that's relevant to the video, it gets suppressed so much that I can't even accept it. It's just deleted out of nowhere, disappears. And I sincerely doubt that someone would delete their comment on my video if it's that simple anyway. So yeah, and again, it's not like they're deleting their comments, because these people whose comments just disappear oftentimes ask me if I'm deleting their comments, so they don't know what the hell's going on either. So I mean, I've left reviews on like YouTube's apps thing, and I suppose maybe I should log on to my Twitter account. I honestly never get on any like Twitter or anything, and just like tweet. Let me fucking tweet YouTube's development team or something, trying to tell them, hey, like my comments are disappearing. You know, and I think this has been an issue for a long time, and YouTube's like denying that this is even possible or something, but it's just kind of discouraging considering the fact that, you know, the way YouTube's changed its algorithm over the last couple years, exposure to my channels decreased substantially. Like my YouTube channel was gaining subscribers at a fast rate until they changed the algorithm to where it's mostly comments now that drive the algorithm. And now some of my comments are just disappearing, so it's like kind of making it even harder now to like gain exposure. And really the most important thing for me with YouTube in the first place is building a community and discussing ideas and things like that. So yeah, but the good thing is that it's only a small amount of comments. It's like maybe 2 comments a month, it seems like, you know, so it's not that much compared to the, you know, dozens of comments I get every month. So that's YouTube and their comments disappearing. So now I want to talk about the Facebook and Instagram algorithm. So here are my observations with Facebook and Instagram. So first of all, when I first started using Instagram, which I was really, really late compared to everyone else, I started using Instagram really in 2016. Okay. And so in 2016, I started using Instagram, and I would get like 40 likes on my workout videos and just random ass, you know, whatever I wanted to post, just by tagging things in it. And really, my friends, you know, people who already liked me and, you know, that are following me from real life or whatever, they'll see my shit and they'll like it. It'll appear in their newsfeed or whatever. But somewhere around like 2018 or so, I started to notice that exposure, I think it's more like 2019, exposure to my content started to drastically decrease. And I don't know if that's because I started to get onto this pro-meat, anti-vegan thing, or if they just changed their algorithm in a certain way. I mean, they started to hide how many people would like your shit. And the other thing that they started to do is, and this is really annoying, it seems like their whole algorithm, a lot of it, has to do with how much time you spend on their platform. They seem to be trying to manipulate humans' dopamine response. So let me explain. So I notice when I'll post a video or something, and a bunch of people will see it immediately and like it, but it won't show the likes and the exposure in my notifications until a couple hours later. So people will be liking and commenting on my shit, and I won't even see it in my notifications until like sometimes the next day or something, which is really weird and suspicious. And of course, a lot of people have noticed this and called out Instagram for it. And Instagram insists that they're not delaying notifications like that. But I've seen this over and over again since 2019. And my hypothesis, what I think is going on, is that Instagram, obviously, they make their platform as addictive as humanly possible in order to keep people hooked and spending more time on their platform. And why they would be delaying notifications is because they know that when people post something on social media, they're desiring validation from other people. And so if they post something and it doesn't get any likes or comments, then the poster is going to keep looking, checking their notifications, getting back on the social media like obsessively over and over again to try to see if somebody liked or commented or whatever, if they've gotten their notifications yet. And if they don't get any notifications, they're going to be like just like addicted to checking those notifications over and over again until they finally see some likes or comments. And so I think Instagram, and I think and Facebook does this too, but in different ways. They're leveraging the likes and comments in a way that produces more usage of their platform. So if I post something and then I keep checking for likes and I don't get any likes, you know, and Instagram is logging how many times I log on or how much time I spend, then it's going to modify how much my posts and my content appears in people's news feed according to how it influences my behavior. So, and it's pretty fucked up. But, you know, social media, that's what it's been engineered around for years now. And that's why this whole idea of no surf and no fap and all these things and dopamine fasting is so powerful and so popular now, is because people recognize that this is exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to hijack your dopamine. Maybe that explains the disappearing YouTube comments. I don't think so. But another thing I noticed is that the more times that I post on Facebook. Now Instagram, I don't know, but Facebook, the more that I post on Facebook, the least amount of comments and likes and exposure my post seems to get. So it's very, very possible that people just don't fucking like my content. It's very possible. But I don't think that's the case. I've noticed trends and correlations over time as to how many people engage with my content and different correlations of behaviors that I engage in. So I notice the more time I spend off of Facebook, like if I go a whole week with no Facebook and then I just randomly post something after a week of not even logging on, I get like 30 likes. I get the most likes ever. But if I'm posting something every couple hours especially, I get virtually 0 likes, except for that one person who likes fucking everything that you post, right? Another thing that I noticed is if I post YouTube videos, because YouTube's owned by Google. Facebook is their own entity, and Facebook is competing with Google for various things. If I post YouTube videos from my channel, or anything related to YouTube, or even external articles a lot of times, I will notice a substantial decrease for a couple days in exposure on my posts. I will not get likes or comments, or even my mom. My mom and some of my other family members who I know, they have me on See First, which means if anyone who has you on their See First list, they will always see your post at the very top of their news feed. I notice even they don't see a lot of my posts depending on certain behaviors I engage in. So, like I said, if I post a YouTube video, then no matter how much quality, like I can post something that I know for sure usually almost always gets like 10 to 20 likes or something. It'll get 0 likes, 0 comments, 0 views. But if I don't post anything on YouTube and I do everything just right, then that same post will get like 30 likes and comments. Which, by the way, I don't give a shit about likes or comments on a social media platform, but I'm just pointing out observations. But you know, sometimes I do kind of want to talk to somebody about something. So in those times I do care. But so the other thing is that so how many, oh yeah, so if I start to post about certain things like COVID-19 and my opinion on vaccinations and shit like that. So way back in the day, like 2012, and you know, around that time, when I post anything controversial, I would get 40, 50 likes or comments. Like I would get a shit ton of exposure. But I think that after like 2014 after like 2015, over the years, Facebook has started to try to drive traffic away from anything that is outside the mainstream. So if you're talking down on vaccinations, talking down on the pandemic and whatnot, if you're spreading ideas that are, controversial or really that are opposed to Facebook's agenda, then they'll drive exposure down. And first of all, people who claim that this is not true or whatever, I just wonder what makes them think that it wouldn't be happening. Why? Just because Facebook claims it's not happening? No. They have been shutting down certain groups of people. Like there's one group that I disagree with, for example, people that I don't even conform to. They're a group of people that believe vitamin D is harmful. And they got their leader or whatever, their founder, shut down. And he lost access to his group and all this shit, and they removed the group from from the search results. And he was wondering, like, what the hell, And they're not really even preaching much that's against Facebook's Facebook's like agenda. It just so happens that I guess that they're on the opposite side of medicine or something. I don't know. But people like Dr. Mercola and all these people who, again, I don't agree with at all. But it is kind of crazy that these people are spreading alternate ideas or getting suppressed, it seems. And so I notice whenever I post something that might be like conspiracy or some shit or just alternate information, seems to get censored, seems to get exposure driven away from it. And then the rest of my posts get exposure driven away from it for like a week or something. It's like I'm shadow banned, in Facebook jail or something. But then another thing that I notice is, and this is the big thing here, is the trend of likes and comments. So it's kind of like an ebb and flow. So let's say that I'm doing everything right. If I have a post that gets 20 likes, then that means I'm more likely to show up in people's news feed with my next post. And if my next post gets more likes, then yeah, I'll continue to have exposure. But if I get less engagement for whatever reason in a post, then that also changes the future of my exposure to my posts. So depending on how much exposure and engagement you get on each thing you post, it sets the possibilities for the next couple of things that you post. So it's a matter of how much people like your shit, and then like the actual content of the things you post and how politically correct they are. And then also how much time do you spend on the platform. So I'm going to do an experiment or whatever where I just literally stop talking about health information, and if I do post something about health information, it's going to be something very basic, very vague, and just avoiding anything that can set off their alarm system or whatever. And I'm just not going to be on social media at all, except for maybe like once a day, every couple days or something, just to post about certain things in my life. Because at this point, social media has really for the last, since 2016, yeah, really in the last 3 years or so, since 2017, I'd say, social media has taken a hit. They've gone to absolute garbage. Since 2015, so 2015 I think was a cutoff point where people just started to share other people's posts. People don't post their own content anymore. And then when the people do post their own content, they don't get much exposure, and they get shadow banned for it, which is ridiculous. So now all you see is mindless bullshit. Which of course I go on Facebook to see other people's personalities and interesting discussions with people that I care about, but none of that really is there anymore. Actually, depends. Actually, now that I'm more a part of the jiu-jitsu community and stuff in my local environment, actually I see a lot of stuff like that, but it just depends on who you're friends with, really, at the current time. But anyway, just the way the algorithm is, because the thing is, a lot of the shit that I care about gets clouded out by, you know, politics and social injustices, which I'm not saying are not important, but just like crazy shit, like people who are trying to like share their venting emotions and shit, like they're ranting about something, like, oh, this is fucking bullshit, blah 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 blah, and sharing articles from CNN and whatever. I don't know. There's a lot of disaster there, and I think maybe just I'm kind of like over exaggerating a lot of the negatives. Really, honestly. The main thing is just the way that the algorithm is, because if the algorithm did not hide shit that I give a fuck about, if it didn't hide unique opinions and shit like that, and if it didn't base it on like how much time you spend on their fucking their app, then there'd be a lot more content that I gave a fuck about, and the quality of the information I'd see in my newsfeed would be way better. So it has nothing to do with, oh, social media's gone to shit because of the people. It has to do with social media's gone to shit because they're catering towards mindless bullshit, really. They're like trying to like dumb people down with the dopamine, trying to dope people up on validation and shit. So, and I don't think a lot of people are noticing this. I think most people, they're getting on Facebook and social media, they're wondering why no one gives a shit about their posts. It's making them feel worthless, and that makes them want to seek more validation by going on social media more. People are depressed. Very depressed. It's feeding this epidemic of mood disorders and mental health issues. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that. Let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll talk to y'all next time.